Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Kaufman with Nerd on the Street, and today we're taking a look at the Piwik analytics software. Alright, now as you all know, I've got a website over at nerdonthestreet.com. I post all of these videos to my website, as well as uploading them to YouTube and Dailymotion. And on the sidebar of my website right now, I've got a widget that displays a hit count for every day, week, and month. And the hit count is cool to have. It gives me a general idea of how much people are using my website, but it's not very accurate. I don't want to say it's not accurate, because what it does is it's like one of those old hit counters from 2005, where every time you load a page, that counts as a hit. So every time I go to a page, it counts as a hit. Every time you refresh a page, it increases the hit count by 1. So it's an accurate widget for what it's counting, but that information isn't exactly what I want to see. I don't want to see how many times one person is refreshing a page. I want to see how many different people are connecting to my website. And I want to see what specific pages people are going to. So the content management system that I'm running my website on, while it has some simple analytics features built in, it doesn't have comprehensive analytics built in. Now, one of the most popular analytics packages for webmasters is called Google Analytics. And it's something that you plug into your website, and then Google tracks how many people are visiting your website, where they're visiting from, where they're finding your website, where they're going from your website, and it gives you all kinds of really cool information about your website. It gives you lots of great analytics. The problem with Google Analytics, for me, is Nerd on the Street is a company that supports free and open source solutions, and Google Analytics is proprietary for one thing. It is hosted by Google, and Google has kind of become a monolith in this day and age, and I personally have sort of an issue with Google in general. You know, I publish all my videos to YouTube, and it's kind of silly that I complain about Google because I use YouTube, but Google really has too much control over the internet right now. They've got the #1 most popular video sharing platform, the #1 most popular email platform, #1 most used search provider. They've just got a lot of different things that they kind of have a monopoly over. You know, Android, #1 most used mobile phone platform. Google is kind of dominating a lot of markets right now, and I make it a point to get away from Google whenever I can. And I don't like how much Google tracks people. You know, really what solidified it for me was a few years back when the do not track specification was first created. So websites track their users for analytics, but then some users don't want to be tracked. So a few years ago, at least it feels like just a few years ago, there was this new specification that came out called Do Not Track. And basically, users could turn this option on in their web browser, and it would send a request to websites not to track them. And Google, being the most ubiquitous tracking solution, you know, with Google Analytics, as well as all of their other services, Google actually publicly said, we're not going to respect Do Not Track requests. And that was kind of the moment when I realized, you know, Google's kind of getting out of hand. If they're just going to publicly say that they're not going to respect their users' privacy, then I don't want to be a part of what they're doing. So I have to use Google when I'm using YouTube, but I do upload all of my videos to Dailymotion as well as YouTube, and that is why, because if you want to choose not to use YouTube, I think you should have an alternative. So I upload all of my videos to Dailymotion, and all of the embeds on nerdonthestreet.com are Dailymotion embeds. Now, Nerd on the Street does have Google advertisements on its website, and that is something that we've got a Patreon goal right now over on our Patreon page that once we hit a certain monthly amount, I will remove those ads. But yeah, Google Analytics is just too far for me. I don't want to just sell out all of my users' data to Google just so that I can get a couple of more insights. Because I'm not looking to do a whole lot with analytics. It's more just for me personally to see. Like, I'm not approaching sponsors and saying, oh, this is how many views we have. Because Nerd on the Street doesn't really have corporate sponsors. We ask for sponsorships from you, our viewers. So we don't need to have these analytics, but it's nice for me to know what's getting viewed and how people are using our website. So I want to have an analytics solution, but it can't be Google Analytics. So I did some searching around, and I came across a program called Piwik. And Piwik is an open source analytics program for web servers, And not only is it open source, it's self-hosted, it's also Libre, it's published under the GPL. So for me, that's perfect. From a privacy standpoint, that hits all three marks, you know, open source, GPL, and self-hosted. So I'm controlling all of the data. You guys can feel safe going to my website because Google's not getting your information. The only person getting your information is me, and I assume you're okay with that if you're visiting my website. And I'm not going to sell your information because I don't need to, once again. So yeah, I want to go ahead and install Piwik. It looks like a really nice platform. Version 3.0 came out a little while ago. They're up to like 3.0.2 is the current version. I found Piwik when it was still in the 2.x stages, so I waited until 3.0 was out, waited a little bit to make sure that everything's all polished and ready to go. And now, today, I'm going to go ahead and install Piwik. I'll be installing it on my production Nerd on the Street web server, which is probably a bad idea to do on a video, but, you know, this is a real-world example. If you guys want to have some analytics for your own websites, but you don't necessarily want to hand all of that data over to Google, Piwik looks like a really great solution, and I'm excited to try it out. So I'm going to go ahead and install it now, so we will cut to the desktop. Alright, so here we are on the desktop, and this is Piwik's website. So like I said, Piwik is the leading open source analytics platform, and it is, once again, a self-hosted alternative to Google Analytics, because I want to know how many people are visiting my website, but I don't want to infringe on people's privacy like Google does in the process of doing that. So this will let me host the whole analytics thing myself. You can see Wikimedia, which owns Wikipedia, they use this. And there are some hosted versions of this, but I'm just going to be hosting it myself because that's the whole point of this kind of thing. There are mobile apps, so I can check up on the analytics on my phone. Might be kind of fun. But yeah, you can see the entire project is on GitHub right here. So that's awesome. And let's see. License. It is GPL 3. So not only is Piwik open source, it is also Libre, just for the record. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to download Piwik now. Latest version is 3.0.1. Like I said, I started watching this when the 3.0 release was in beta, or the release candidate stage. 3.0 came out a little while ago now. I've just been waiting to do the video. So 3.0.1, hopefully it'll be nice and polished, because they've had a little bit of time to get the initial kinks worked out with 3.0. There's a quote-unquote 5-minute installation that they've got. So we'll take a look at the installation guide. And I'm just going to scroll through this. So web server. I'm going to be hosting this for now on the same web server as my website. Oh, and actually it looks like we're not even going to use this file that I just downloaded. We're just going to wget it on the server itself. Minimum requirements. Yeah, we've got Apache, PHP version 5.5.9 or greater. We should be fine there. We've got MariaDB. Okay. Yeah, we should be good in terms of requirements. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and do this. So I'm going to copy this command. And just for good practice, I'm going to open up a text editor, paste the command, make sure there's nothing hidden there. You should always do that when you're copying commands from the internet. Maybe I'll make a video about that sometime. But yeah, so we've got that copied. Now I'm going to SSH root at nerdonthestreet.com. Alright, so we are logged into my web server now. So we will cd var www. And we're actually going to make a subdomain for this because in the future, I might want to move Piwik onto its own server for a variety of reasons. It could be too resource intensive. Just for scalability purposes, it's good to be able to move things to different servers if you have to. So I'm just going to make a new Apache virtual host real quick. So for that, we'll just go into my sites available and we are going to, let's see. So we're going to copy the existing archive.config. Right now, there's a website. If you go to archive.nerdonthestreet.com. There's actually a website here that you can go and see all of the old versions of the website. So you can see the last version of the website that we had a while ago that was running on Drupal, so you can watch a video with me going through that website. The one before that, we were using MyBB. This is kind of cool. These are all the different Nerd on the Street websites that I've built throughout the last 5 years or so, all the way back to our very first website. Actually, this was only our second website. The first one was on Google Sites. But yeah, we've already got a subdomain, so we are going to copy that subdomain file into its own subdomain file. We're going to modify it, and then we're going to run Let's Encrypt to get ourselves an HTTPS certificate for it. So piwik.config, we're going to edit this, and we're going to go change server name to, let's see, what do I want to call this? I'll just call it piwik.nerdonthestreet.com for now. I'm trying to think, do I want to call it analytics.nerdonthestreet.com instead? We're actually going to do that. We're going to call it analytics.nerdonthestreet.com. Document root is going to be var www Piwik. That's the folder we already made. So we will save that, and now we'll run, let's see. Now we got to go back to our root folder, cd root. Let's encrypt. I'm using an outdated version of Let's Encrypt. / Let's Encrypt auto -- Apache. Let's see what we get here. All right, which names would you like to activate HTTPS for? Number 8, analytics.nerdonthestreet.com. So it's going to go ahead and verify that. And we haven't even actually activated that website yet. Oh, I'm an idiot. All right, I need to go and log into my domain name registrar, which I use hover, and I need to add the subdomain for Piwik, so I'm going to do that real quick. All right, so I've just gone and added a record for analytics.nerdonthestreet.com. So, just log into your domain name registrar. If you're using GoDaddy, log into GoDaddy. If you're using Network Solutions, log in there. Just wherever you registered your domain name, you'll need to obviously go and add a subdomain, a record, if you're going to use a subdomain. So we'll run this one more time, and once again, we're going to get a TLS certificate for analytics.nerdonthestreet.com. And Let's Encrypt is awesome. It'll just automatically verify it for us. And we want secure. We always want to be using HTTPS. All right. So now we've got HTTPS on this. So we'll make a folder at, let's see, make dir var www Piwik. So let's see if we go to var www Piwik and we nano index.html and we'll just say test. Let's see if that worked. So analytics.nerdonthestreet.com test. All right, so we've got our subdomain set up. Now we are going to run this command that we had checked out earlier. And that is going to download Piwik and extract it for us. Right there. All right, so now, is this index.html what we made? Yeah, let's remove index.html. All right, good. So the 5-minute Piwik installation. So navigate to the URL where you uploaded Piwik. Analytics.nerdonthestreet.com. Okay. All right, so we've got a folder called Piwik. So we're going to move everything in this folder to the folder above it. Like that. All right, so no asterisks on the second one. So now nothing is in this folder. But if we go up here, so we can remove the Piwik folder, and then all of our files are just sitting here. So if we refresh this now, an error occurred. All right, and this is nice. So it just gives us exactly what we need to do to enable all of the correct permissions that we need to run. So we're just going to go through. So we're giving the web server write access to all of the proper files and folders that it needs. Some of these folders, like in the temp directory, haven't been created yet, which obviously, it'll be able to create it later now that it's got write access. So it's all right that those subdirectories haven't been created yet. Refresh the page. All right, and now we have an installation page. This is nice. Yeah, free Libre analytics platform. Cool. Select your language up here. Piwik is a free Libre web analytics software that makes it easy to get the information you want from your visitors. This process is split up into 8 easy steps and will take around 5 minutes. So it'll perform a system check, make sure all of our requirements are met. All right, required PHP configuration. Always populate raw post data equals -1. Okay, so we are going to go and set this option in our PHP data. And if you're running another web application that you cannot have this setting set for, like if this is a bad thing for you to set, that is why you'd want to maybe have Piwik running on its own server rather than just piggybacking on top of the web server you've already got. So yeah, I think this should be fine for me. So we will nano etc apache 2 / actually, is it just PHP 5 apache 2 php.ini. All right, here's our config file. Always populate. We'll just search there. All right, so all we have to do is uncheck this or uncomment this. This feature will be removed in a future version. All right, well, hopefully they stop using that by the time it's removed. So now we will restart our web server. systemctl. Okay. So now we should be able to refresh the page. All right, so now that setting is set correctly. File integrity, failed and reported some errors. All right, so these are automatically downloaded files that command we did earlier downloaded. It just wants us to remove those for security purposes. So we will remove the guide that I didn't even look at, and we will remove the zip file. I probably shouldn't have just exited the web server, but we can just refresh later if we really need to. So I'm gonna refresh this one more time, just so that we can see. All right, so the file integrity check passed this time. Cool. So now we can continue. Database setup. So at this point, I'm going to go to my phpMyAdmin installation, and I'm going to log in here. And once we're into phpMyAdmin, we're going to go to our users tab. We're going to add a new user. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to call the user Piwik. Host is going to be localhost. Now, if we move Piwik to an external server, then we're going to have to change this field to whatever the external server is. Got a super secret password we'll type in there. Create database with same name and grant users all privileges. Go. So now we've created that user, so we'll be able to come over here into our setup and log in with that information. We'll leave all of this the same. We're fine with that. Next. Tables created with success. All right. So it just set the database up and just put basically an empty frame for the database. All right, super user. I'm going to be the super user, I assume. Jacob at nerdonthestreet.com. And, professional services and products. Yeah, no, I don't want emails about those. I'll do the community updates, though. Next, set up the first website you would like to track. So, website name, Nerd on the Street. Website URL, https, nerdonthestreet.com. Website time zone is Chicago. There we are. And not an e-commerce site. Yeah. Next. And yeah, you can use Piwik for more than one website, obviously. It's just letting you set up one. So tracking code. You need to make sure some extra code is added to each of your web pages. So in most websites, blogs, CMS, etc., you can use a pre-made plugin to do the technical work for you. Yes. So this JavaScript tracking code I need to include in every page, posted immediately before the closing head tag. And this is just a JavaScript thing. And then if you've got a super high traffic website, which mine is not a super high traffic website, but you can go and perform some more steps to make sure that things don't slow down too much because of this JavaScript that you're adding. So we're going to go to nerdonthestreet.com, and I'm actually going to go down. I'm going to go and this is what it looks like when I'm editing nerdonthestreet.com, actually. I do this so often. I've never shown this on video, though. And I might be blocking some things out, but most of this stuff should be fine for you guys to see. I use a CMS called Composer for nerdonthestreet.com. However, I have heavily modified it. So if you go and just download Composer, it used to be called OC Portal. It's not going to look like nerdonthestreet.com. It took a whole lot of work to get the website where it is today. But I'm going to go down. You see, like, all of these templates underneath the Nerd on the Street name I have customized. So there are a ton of these that I've customized. But I'm going to go down to global HTML wrap. And, oh, actually, no, that's not what I want to do. Yeah, see, this is how Composer works, and I love this. So this is the HTML wrap that you use every time you go to nerdonthestreet.com on a desktop. It uses this template. So the very first thing it does, it opens up your HTML tag, and then it's got a head tag. And then instead of actually having everything in here, it's got a separate template for that. Why? Because there are actually two HTML wraps. One of them is global HTML wrap for desktops. The other one is global HTML wrap for mobile devices. So rather than having a header maintained in each of those that are different, we've just got this separate template called HTML head, and it's got all of our header information in it. So we'll go down to the very bottom of this, and we are going to add in our Piwik code. Save that. So just like that, just by editing this header template, since this is included in that HTML wrap, which every single page on my website uses, now if we go to nerdonthestreet.com and we view our page source, if we go down to the bottom of our header, the last thing here is the Piwik code. So that is now loaded every single page on our website just by adding it to that one template. And that's the advantage of using a CMS over just doing your own website, is I didn't have to go and add that to the 468 video viewing pages that I have here, because every single one of these pages, you know, you go to one of these pages and you view the source here, and if you search /head, yep, it's got the Piwik code in it. So that is, that's why we use CMSs, content management systems. So yeah, I am gonna look at this optimization stuff that we can do later. For now though, I just wanna kinda get up and running. So congrats, your Piwik installation is complete. Welcome to the Piwik community. Looks like we've got a get involved page, and there's a page you can go if you speak another language, you wanna help with translations. You can also submit bug reports and stuff. So yeah. That's all cool. Enable do not track support. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this enabled. So you can actually disable this. So right now with this checkbox unchecked, even if like someone is using Internet Explorer or one of the browsers, I think Firefox has the ability to do this, but it doesn't do it by default. Internet Explorer does, or Microsoft Edge does. They send do not track requests, where if you're sending that request, then websites aren't supposed to be able to track you. Now it can still track you. It can just disregard that report. I'm gonna leave this checked though, because you guys know I'm a privacy conscious person. I personally don't send the do not track request because, you know, I'm fine with advertisers tracking me to an extent, but if any of you don't feel comfortable, any of you viewers, if you don't feel comfortable being tracked by my Piwik installation here, then if you're sending do not track, then I'm gonna have this configured to where Nerd on the Street at least won't be tracking your websites. Now Google Analytics still does, just to be clear, even if you've got do not track support turned on. The last time I checked, Google does not respect that setting, but Piwik does, because, you know, it's an open, not only is it open source, it's got an open philosophy, and yeah, they think that you shouldn't have to get tracked if you don't want to. So, anonymize the last bytes of visitors' IP addresses to comply with your local privacy laws and guidelines. Alright, when users visit your website, if you've got this checked, then I'm not actually going to be logging IP addresses. It's only going to be logging the first two numbers of the IP address out of the four, the first two octets. And that is a requirement set by some European countries, such as Germany, for privacy, so that individual users aren't tracked. Now, you can still tell, like, if you've got 213.34 in this example, you're probably not going to have two viewers with the same first two numbers. So you're probably going to still be able to track viewer by viewer, but you won't be able to tell what their individual IP is. This one, I might think about turning this off. Sometimes it is nice to be able to have someone's full IP address. You know, if someone's vandalizing my website, yeah, if someone's spamming me, I'm going to want their full IP address. Now, Composer CMS, like I might have mentioned in the intro to this video, you can see on the side of this site statistics thing, Composer itself tracks hits. And it tracks the IP address of those hits. And even Apache, like the web server, actually, you know what? Yeah, this actually isn't doing much, because I'm actually going to disable that, and here's why. When I log into my web server, I can go to the Apache access logs, and the access logs have the full IP address. So if I ever wanted to go and let's say that I had this option turned on, so I only had the first two numbers, but I wanted to find out the last two numbers, all I would have to do is go into my Apache access log and copy these numbers and paste them into a search box, and just search for those first two numbers, and then the Apache access log would include the last two numbers as well. So I'm actually going to turn this off. I'm going to have the full IP address of my viewers who are visiting my website. And if you're not comfortable with that, you know what you can do. You can turn on do not track support. So I'm still giving you an option. If you don't want to be seen, you don't have to be seen. Now, I'm not going to be giving these IP addresses to anyone else. That's kind of the whole point of using Piwik, is that you should feel more comfortable with me personally having your IP address, or with my company having your IP address, than you would with like Google having your IP address, because Google is a monolith. Nerd on the Street as a company is privacy conscious. So I'm not going to be handing these over to anyone. But even if I was, say, compelled by a court to hand over an IP address, they would still be able to force me to do that, because the IP addresses are stored in my Apache access logs. So for this to actually be effective, I'd have to turn off my Apache access logs. And that's a bigger decision that I'm not ready to do right now. So that's why I'm going to turn that one off. So we'll continue to Piwik, and gives us the sign-in box. This is going a little slowly. I probably will look at those optimization options You have to consider that this is running on the same web server that's serving 4 or 5 other websites. But, you know, until we get more Nerd on the Street sponsors, then I'm not going to be able to do much about that. So we're going to log in here. And this is a very nice interface. It's sort of like material design, but faster, which isn't difficult because material design is horrible, speed-wise. So this is where you can select your websites. No data has been recorded yet. Let's set up the JavaScript tracking code. We've already done that. So as soon as, quote-unquote, some data was tracked for this website, then this message will go away. Yeah, some content management systems have plugins. Composer does not have a Piwik plugin. WordPress, Drupal, they've got Piwik plugins. Is this a Drupal 3 plugin, though? Or is this, a Drupal 8? Yeah, it's updated for Drupal 8. Joomla's a big one. Let's see what else we got here. Moodle, that's interesting. SharePoint. Yeah. PHPBB, MyBB. Yeah. Not one for Composer. And Composer itself does integrate into Google Analytics, but not Piwik. If I search my admin area for Piwik, yeah, nothing comes up. So yeah, I've done everything I can in terms of this. So we're just gonna have to wait until some data gets tracked. So I guess I'll wait a couple days and I'll come back here and see if this has gotten any information. Alright everyone, so it's been a few weeks since I recorded the first bit of this video, and this is what it looks like if I go to analytics.nerdonthestreet.com now. Now you guys won't be able to see this because you can't log in, but this is the dashboard when I'm logged in. I've customized it a little bit. I've added widgets that are interesting and helpful to me. And as you can see, we've got a view up here that's got, the default view is a day's worth. So right now, everything on screen is just for today. So today I've had 31 visits to my website and 23 unique visitors so far today. 163 page views and 86 unique page views just today. And on the left here, we've got a log of some visitors. So all these visitors visited Monday, March 13th, and Tuesday, March 14th, so it's the last 24 hours that it's showing me, I guess. And I can see here what country everyone is from, what web browser they're using, and also what operating system and sometimes what distro they're using. So this one says Fedora, this one up here just says Linux. We have Ubuntu down here, so cool to see those people using Linux. We got somebody using Windows up here, somebody from the Netherlands using Windows, and then up here somebody's actually using Microsoft Edge, so I don't know what that person's doing and why they're on my website. Up here we have IE over in the UK, and that's understandable, but I mean Edge, seriously? So yeah, I've got a real-time log of visitors in the last 24 hours, and also in the last 30 minutes. Now what I like to do is I like to go up here and change this period to month view. Now I have not had an entire month's worth of this being installed yet. As you can see, I installed this on February 18th, so I can view the second half of February and I can view the first half of March, but I don't have an entire month's view. So these numbers are going to seem a little small because it's only for half of a month. But this month I've had 226 visits to my website, 141 unique visitors so far. So 141 individual separate people have visited my website in the first half of this month. This says that the average view duration is 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, if you're viewing one of my videos, you're going to have to be on the page longer than that, probably. So I don't know how Piwik tracks the visit duration. There have been a little over 1,000 page views so far this month, and about 600, 700 unique page views. And if you hover over these words, it gives you the definition. So regular old page views is just the number of times a page was visited, and unique page views is when it only counts one view if the same person views the same page multiple times. So refreshing a page would count toward the number of page views, but not toward the number of unique page views. So I've got a visitor map here. I can see what countries people are coming from, and that's always cool to see. So once again, this is for the first half of March that I'm looking at right now. And referrer types, as you can see, I mostly get direct entries to my website, which is awesome. I get some entries from search engines, and unfortunately, Google doesn't provide the search terms to Piwik. Now, I think if you're using Google Analytics, you could probably tell what search terms people are using, but since I'm using Piwik, I can't tell what people are specifically searching for, but you know, that's fine, that's alright. And then I can see what other websites people are coming from, so TechnicPack. Yeah. So see, this is interesting. On technicpack.net, I've got a link to my website on my Technic mod pack page, and then people have to come and sign up for the website to get access to the Nerd on the Street Minecraft server. So that's why people are coming from Technic Pack. YouTube is pretty self-explanatory. These are people who are clicking the link in the description to nerdonthestreet.com. Facebook, I mean, I've got a Facebook page. Tumblr, I don't know how people would find me through Tumblr. 50% bounce rate, but that's only out of 2 people. That's interesting. So I have no idea how people would find me through Tumblr. So let's open up our row evaluation here, see if we can get any more detailed information about this. That's interesting. All right, I'll have to figure out where people are, like MSN.com. I guess this could be people searching on MSN, because MSN has a search box on it. Composer, so just the other day I posted on the Composer forums asking a question about Composer, so I apparently had one person who was probably the person who responded to me on the forums just the other day, followed that link that I posted in the forums, so that's cool to see right there, because I know exactly where that person came from and who they were. Looks like in the past month I had one person come from StargateFanProductions.wikia.com, and I know there's a link for Displaced on that. So it's interesting. Interesting that people are still coming here from that. And then T.co, I think that's a Twitter thing. If we, so that just means that somebody clicked on a Twitter link for Nerd on the Street. So yeah, that's cool to see where people are coming from. Over on the sidebar here, we can take a look at visitors and get a little bit more detailed information about visitors. So February. In the second half of February, we had 144 visits. First half of March, we're already doing pretty well, 226 visits. We can get a visitor log here, and this will be a lot of the same information from the first page, but you can see, like, this person, alright, so someone in the UK visited us from technicpack.net. We can see they visited nerdonthestreet.com, and then they went to the whitelist form, and they applied for the Minecraft whitelist, and then, this is really cool. After they applied for the Minecraft whitelist, this is why I did this. This is why I put Nerd on the Street on technicpack.net. So see, before I wasn't sure if this was working, but now I know that it is. This person visited nerdonthestreet.com, applied for the Minecraft whitelist, then, probably while they were waiting for me to add them to the whitelist, they went back to the homepage, and then they went and viewed episode 65 of the Nerd on the Street podcast, which I think is on the homepage right now. Yeah. First thing right there. So you see, now I know that people coming from technicpack.net, they're not just applying for the whitelist, which is why they're there in the first place, but then they're also going and viewing content in addition to that. And that's really cool. See, I couldn't tell if that was working before. Now I know for sure that what I intended to happen was for Minecraft players to come and apply to the whitelist and then also view our content. Now I can tell that that's working, so that's awesome. If we come down here, you can see this visitor. First they entered on nerdonthestreet.com, then they went to the technology browse section, and then they clicked on the make your own restreaming server link there. So see, I can take a look at the individual pages that each person is viewing, and this gives me a more comprehensive idea. This one's me, that's why there's so much stuff there. This gives me a more comprehensive idea of what people are doing on the website. I can look at the pages that they visited and the order that they visited them, and I can kind of paint myself a picture of their visit to the website. So I know that this person entered through the whitelist form, or they entered looking for the whitelist form, and then they went and watched a podcast, and then visited the wiki, but didn't do anything else from there. So maybe I need to add more stuff that people can do on the wiki page. So yeah, that's the kind of information we can get from here. We can look at individual users. No data for this report. All right. I think this is more for if you're plugging this into like Drupal or WordPress, something with a plugin. Then this will track individual users, but Composer doesn't do that right now. So yeah, we can look at devices people are using, engagement. I'm going to go down to actions next, and we'll look at individual pages that are viewed the most. So I can look at this sorted by the most unique page views, or just the most page views. So the forums got 187 unique page views in the past 2 weeks or so, and the most viewed thing is going to be probably the whitelist forum. As you can see, whitelist forum, 28 page views to the main section. Page 2 got some more views. As you can see, like whitelist forum topic start equals 20, whitelist forum topic start equals 20, and post ID equals 86. There's lots of different permutations of URLs that are all effectively the same thing. So it would be nice if there was a mode I can turn on in Piwik to combine all of these, because they're all the same page. or at least like these are all the exact same page. These are all page 2 of that topic. But as a human reading this, I know enough about my own website to tell when several entries are talking about the same thing. So yeah, we got 40 unique page views to Tech Talk. And it looks like, yeah, Logitech MX Master. Looks like we've had a lot of people visiting that this month. So lots of people are getting this mouse or looking into getting this mouse and wanting to know how it works with Linux. So that's cool. So that's the forum. Second most unique page views is going to be news. And we can see in the past month what is getting viewed the most. So fixing a truncated MP4 file, 10 unique page views, 10 separate people visited fixing a truncated MP4 file on our website in the past 2 weeks. Looks like we've had 5, 6, 7, 8 views to System 76 Superfan 2 video. Some of these are separated out because for a little bit my website was doing a weird thing where it appended this selection data to the end of the URL, and then I fixed that so it doesn't do it anymore. So that's why that's happening. Now if we go to downloads, this was interesting for me to see. So we host the Nerd on the Street podcast on our website, and we can see for 2 episodes, episode 64 and episode 65, how many people are downloading these MP3 files. Now what's interesting about this is that the MP3 files are hosted on a subdomain, podcast.nerdonthestreet.com, and they're all just sitting here. And so Piwik is not hooked up to the subdomain, but it's tracking that. As you can see, it's got the little outbound icon. So it's tracking that by if you go to our homepage and then you go to one of the podcasts and you click this direct download link, or it might even count it if you play the audio player that's embedded. This counts as leaving our website and downloading this podcast. So yeah, we've had 1 download for 65 and 1 for 64 in the past 2 weeks. However, that is not counting our iTunes subscribers, that's not counting Google Play subscribers, that's only counting people who visited through our website and then followed that direct download link. So that's not going to be the majority, probably, of our podcast viewers. nerdonthestreet.com. We host a special version of Untrunk for fixing MP4 files. 2 people have downloaded that in the past 2 weeks. And as you can see here in the podcast pages, we've got these link dumps. And sometimes we include screenshots from the video version of the podcast, or we include other pictures. So if you click on that, you can see I included a screenshot because we were talking about Adam's t-shirt here in that episode of the podcast. So this way our audio viewers can see the t-shirt that we're talking about. So I can see here in the last 2 weeks, 1 person has viewed that picture from the link dump page. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting section. This would not be all-inclusive, once again, because it only counts if they click on the link. These don't count if they're directly visiting one of these podcast links or if they're getting it from the RSS feed. But it does track it when it's going through the main section of our website. So yeah, I haven't gotten into refers a whole lot because like Google doesn't provide that anymore. Google doesn't provide keywords. We can see how many people are directly entering and how many people are coming from search engines. And then goals, you really need a plugin for your content management system for this to do much, or at least you need to go through some more of a setup process than I've gone through. But yeah, for basic analytics, this is doing exactly what I wanted. I can see unique visitors rather than just a hit count like I had before, and I can see what individual people are doing. So yeah, that is a look at Piwik. I hope that this video was helpful to you guys, and I highly recommend that you check out Piwik. The website is piwik.org if you want to get it yourself for your own website, and again, it's open source, Libre, self-hosted. If you are going to implement analytics on your website, you should do it with something like Piwik. Because this is going to be a lot more respectful to your visitors than something like Google Analytics. But yeah, for now, that's everything that I had to talk about. I'm Jacob Kaupman with Nerd on the Street, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.